The court is now in session for the trail of random crits. The lovely random crits. Some hate them, some love them. If it wasn't already obvious, I'm in the later bucket. I never really had any problems with them, to be absolutely honest. I've always considered them pretty balanced, no jokes intended. They rewarded both me and the enemy for doing more damage, which is something that this game is all about. Lately, one YouTuber sparked a discussion about if we should let them stay in the game or if we should remove them completely. Granted, his video was as biased as it could be, so I decided to make a counterweight video. Today's topic is why I believe that random crits should stay in TF2. Disclaimer: I am not a competitive player, and as such, I am not going to tell them how they should play the game or what should they have enabled on their servers. I am fully a casual player, and I am going to speak about this whole case from casual viewpoint. Number 1. They help balance the game. This argument may surprise a lot of you, but random crits play a very important role in giving both teams a fair chance at winning. Casual game mode isn't known for coordinated teams. This way, pre-made groups of friends on one team can tip the balance of the game a lot. Groups of people who know each other are much more effective in the game than the randomized pack of players at different skill levels. Random crits give less coordinated team a fighting chance without completely tipping the balance towards them. Since random crits are counted based on damage, both teams would have even chance of getting them, with them being more game-changing on the losing side. While for the winner, it would only add a few more kills to their kill streak, for the other team it can mean stopping the stomp. It is especially useful against pocket medics, which are a huge problem in casual since they require a lot of teamwork to take out. They are a topic for another day, so I will go over them here very briefly. A semi-decent medic is able to turn free-to-play heavy or soldier into a stomping machine. The only thing that can stop them at this point is an amazing spy or sniper, random crit or teamwork. Since the first and the last one doesn't really happen on pubs, all that's left is that lucky random crit to drop the annoying combo. You could say that the soldier bombing could solve this issue as well, but from what I have seen, most often there are 2 pocket combos on the server. Dropping 2 combos in one life without getting obliterated is very difficult. Number 2. They make weapons viable. The argument that Uncle Dane turned into a joke in his video is actually pretty viable. To make it easier to explain, let's put the weapons, which would become underpowered if we were to remove random crits, into a separate categories. Category number 1. Weapons with low base damage. Weapons with relatively low base damage will become completely overshadowed by those items which have higher damage, DPS, or work well as a utility. If we were to remove random crits, getting kills with these weapons would become increasingly harder or next to impossible. In turn, that would highly lower their price while burying them in current weapon pool. With how often we get weapon rebalances, this would leave them in the dust for a long time. Category number 2. Situational weapons. As the category would suggest, those weapons are highly situational. This means that in regular casual game, most of them will find no use. Some of them are useful in competitive, like the Blade, Basher, Vow or Vitasau, but in the main game using stock is a way better option most of the time. Other have a specific upside that works in conditions which are highly unlikely to happen in the real game, with Bazooka and the Widowmaker being only exceptions. The issue stands with Bazooka's lack of accuracy and its delayed shooting, while Widowmaker requires being close to the target and having a decent aim for it to be effective without a chance for a random crit. All of those weapons won't become completely useless, but less people will equip them due to better alternatives existing. Category number 3. Melee weapons. Most weapons which do not carry any utility effect would lose its usefulness. Right now, most of them are used because they have ability to deal 195 damage in one hit, killing most of the classes. Their downside for this is the fact that you need to get very close to the enemy to have an ability to deal that kind of damage. They are a perfect example of high risk, high reward type of weapon. It also makes them perfect for the final attack when you run out of ammo and are on low HP. When you are cornered, that 195 damage may give you a chance to live and fight another day. If you were to remove random crits, the 95 damage that melee weapons normally deal is extraordinarily low amount. Uncle Dane said this:
"When you think about it, 65 damage is already a pretty good chunk of health. You can two-shot 4 of the 9 classes in the game with that."
Now tell me, when was the last time when in serious casual game you engaged in a melee fight any of these classes? With a spy, I can agree, but all the other examples are a joke. Engineer is most often nearby his sentry, sniper is on the other end of the map, and good luck trying to catch the fastest class in the game with your melee out. Even when that does happen, it doesn't make it a rule, but an exception. With this nerf, their spot will be taken by all melee weapons that have some additional effect, like making you run faster. This will cause a lot of weapons that won't be even usable while memeing. Number 3. They teach good game sense. A brave argument to be made, but I believe it's true. What I found out during my time playing the game is that random crits taught me how to pick my engagements. When I see a soldier with anything besides the co-mangler, I know that he can always one-hit kill me with a rocket. That's why I always try to flank the enemy and attack them from a weird angle or behind to get the best chance of securing the kill. When I see a medic with a syringe gun, I know that if I stay on a medium range, I will be fine for the most of the time. If I see a soldier with a marked gardener, I know that as long as he is on the ground, I can engage in melee combat and be fine. Generalized engagement picking is better than counting damage numbers. The latter one makes sense during 1v1 fights. With 24 people on the server, there is too many variables to add to your calculation. Simple glance at enemy's equipment to see if he has a chance to kill you in one hit is way easier to do in a casual setting. More than that, I believe that random crits are also teaching people the most important thing that someone who wants to be the best in the game should know. They teach players to expect the unexpected. You aren't a good player because you mastered predictable conditions. You can call yourself the best only when you can respond to anything the game throws at you. If in every game you rely on memorized rules, you are weak, because every time something happens that is out of the ordinary, you are left on ice. Random crits teach new players that they should never get too cocky while playing, because the tide turner can happen in even the least likely occasions. I don't want to make random crits sound like the only thing they teach people is about staying passive and camping. Whenever my team is losing, the time on the clock is running out, and decisions have to be made quick, it's often because of them I decide to take one final attempt at the push. Why? Because they give me a chance that no matter how many enemies I will have to fight through, I still may come out on top. Random crits give you hope when you need it the most. If you were to make it more predictable, people would lose incentive to make final pushes because they would know that they would be doomed from the start. This would make matches boring and stale. Number 4. Removing them would promote bad playstyles. Random crits are a decent equalizer between weapons. What's the difference if you do 270 damage with a stock or 207 damage with Liberty Launcher? This makes both weapons viable because if you get a crit, most of your possible targets are already dead, especially since damage fall off over distance doesn't affect them. If we were to remove them, weapons with significant downsides would lose quite a lot of usefulness. In turn, that would lower the size of a loadout pool in the game. This means that certain loadouts would be chosen instead of others. Some existing weapons and combos would even become overpowered with removal of random crits. Let's split them again to a few categories. Category number 1. Tank/health loadouts. The prime worry of this change is that these loadouts are meant to make player take the most damage as it's possible and or be able to heal it as quickly as it's possible. Good example for this would be Soldier's health loadout consisting of Black Box, the Conjurer, and the Katana. If you want to be especially annoying to deal with, you can add Pocket Medic to the mix. It pisses so many people off because Soldier is able to take a lot of damage and quickly heal it back. With random crits enabled, one glowing pipe is all it takes to put this asshole to dust, even if he is overhealed. And if he's not, even a crit from Liberty Launcher will take him out. Now, if we get rid of those, the only classes able to kill that soldier instantly, so he is not able to heal back the damage, are Sniper and Spy. Backstab will end him no matter what, as should Charge Headshot with a sniper rifle. This makes this playstyle stupidly overpowered against a team that isn't coordinated. Demoman has his own version of this combo, consisting of booties, charging charge, and the katana. Category number 2. Damage Loadouts. Most classes have at least one of those. The main point of this playstyle is to deal as much damage as it's possible in a short amount of time. Examples of that would be the direct hit plus buff banner for a soldier, or the critical up plus any primary for scout, as long as player is able to consistently hit their target. If you want to be even more annoying, you can pair those with pocket medics. This way, picking any other weaker weapon would be putting you on a disadvantage from the start. As of now, random crits help negate most damage upsides, but if you were to remove them, the more powerful options would see a slight increase in use. Category number 3. Consistent crit loadouts. While now they are considered as viable as everything else, the consistent crit weapons would skyrocket in use, mostly because they would be an instant advantage over any other weapon. The great example of this would be a Frontier Justice for NG, which at the cost of 3 shells less in the magazine than stock, grants a 180 damage shot for every assist your sentry gets, and 2 for every kill it gets. We also have a Diamondback for the Spy, which grants a crit for basically doing your class's job. There are also the KGB, Backburner, Flares, Flog, and a Bushwhacker, which all have their own way of dealing consistent critical damage. As they are only considered good in certain situations, when they become the only source of crits besides the medic, they will gain even more popularity, as their damage will potentially rise. Another thing that connects those weapons is the fact of how easy it is to get boost with them. Most of these reward you for doing what your class was intended to. This in turn would make them outshine the other non-utility weapons in the damage department. Number 5. The economics. Lastly, I would like to talk about the economical aspect of removing random crits. There is one more item beside the weapon itself that would drop in price. The strange part, critical kills. Currently priced at around a key, this part works as the name would suggest. My problem with it stands that if you remove random crits, it basically becomes kills during victory time, strange part, which is 3 times cheaper. Granted, this is only the case if the weapon doesn't have the consistent critical hits mechanic like a Diamondback. You could say that you can also get kills for this part while being under the effect of crit streak, but seeing a medic on a pub is a rarity in and of itself. Having a semi-competent medic with a crits requires most of the time playing in a pre-made team. Since this part has a history of being one of the more expensive and used ones, I'm afraid that it would drop in the price significantly, with becoming useless on most weapon it was applied to. With that in mind, the not crit, not mini crit kills part would come to mean almost any kill you ever got. I feel like this isn't fair towards everyone who spent a lot of money to get this part in past. I have nothing against it dropping on the price on its own, but this would feel like trying to purposefully manipulate the price of it. In the end, both this and my previous video show my stance on what Uncle Dane has done. I don't believe that we should remove random crits, for the sake of the game and the players. TF team won't balance the game around this change for a very long time, and the community will be even more split. We shouldn't alienate our fellow players. Everyone has a right to enjoy the game mechanic, even if you may think that it's unfair. There is a long list of things related to TF2 that I consider to be unfair or unbalanced, but I know that many people enjoy them, and I have no right to take it away from them. I hope you enjoyed my video. If you have any thoughts of your own about the subject, please leave them in the comments below. That would be it for now. Have a nice rest of your day. Defense rests its case.